estate is a way to become rich and wealthy at the same time. Not a lot of businesses make you rich and wealthy.
How can people buy 3 to 5 rentals in 1 year?
I got you, step by step. I love sharing the BURR strategy because a lot of people aren't familiar with it. You can really go out and buy rental properties with none of your own money, get approved with no income, no pay stubs, low credit. Because not a lot of people will tell you, hey, you can get 100% financing on a house and get all the money to renovate a property. Now you're thinking, well, what's the catch? There's no catch. Sure. You don't have to live there for a year like your FHA loan.
Well, this is a lot of game right here. Are you also thinking about investing in other things, or you're like, nah, die hard, real estate, son. I got it tatted on my arm.
I learned it, I executed on it, and did my first deal in 2023. Bought my first house that first year in 2023, about eight properties. How do people become millionaires? I just did the research on my own now. I'm like, I gotta figure this out because clearly what I've been taught hasn't gotten me there. Yeah. And I saw everybody that's a millionaire, they're in real estate. 90% of people are. Yeah.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. All right, so welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Most people don't fail because they lack opportunity. They fail because they never learn how to turn pressure into a system. Imagine growing up watching eviction notices hit your front door and then turning that pain into a portfolio of 80+ rental units in under 3 years. Today's guest didn't just escape the struggle, she reverse engineered it. From U.S. Army veteran to attorney to walking away from the system entirely to build wealth through real estate, starting with just $4,000. But here's the real question. How do you go from surviving instability to owning the very asset class that once threatened your survival? In this episode, we're breaking down the exact strategy, mindset, and systems she used to scale fast using leverage, not luck. And trust me, what she's about to share might completely change how you think about money, ownership, and freedom. Insiders, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Miss Cindy West.
Jeez, that introduction was insane. Listen, but I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Listen, so I love I want to say that interviewing and doing podcasts is like the best thing that I love to do, right? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like especially like with AI that's out right now and social media, all this different content, like we're bombarded with information. And what makes life fun, if you will, is unique experiences, right? And so I always love to like interview people to kind of learn different perspectives and things of that nature. God has blessed me to be successful, but I always want proof, right? That, success leaves clues. So I love always talking to other successful people, other people who have kind of got it out the mud, if you will, and just kind of connect and see the the parallels, right? And so when I heard about your story, like it intrigued me, right? Because I'm saying like, wow, this is somebody who had, didn't have a silver spoon, went through the ups and downs and things of that nature. Actually went through the traditional ways that they were taught. Yeah. And then still didn't become successful and had to figure some things out and is now crushing it. And so I'm excited to get it all up in your business and get all that information. But before we start, for those who don't know, Who is Cindy West?
Cindy West. I'm 30 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now. I'm a former U.S. vet. I'm a retired attorney, as I like to say, but I'm a full-time real estate investor now. So I own about 80 rental units in the North Carolina market. I do new construction as well. I do fix and flips. And so I've now been able to create an ecosystem around real estate that not only brought financial freedom to myself, but to my family as well. So I'm in business with my brother, his wife, my father. My mother is now retired. So it wasn't just about me, my story. It was about my entire family, but we're truly blessed to be where we're at. And I'm just excited to share my story so people can see how they can take it to the next level.
So so a couple of things, right? Because I think what like 80 plus rentals in less than 3 years is like remarkable, right? Like I've dabbled into properties and things of that nature, and I don't know, it's a lot. There was a moment where I tried to do Airbnb, I tried to do Toro, I tried to do all of the things. I tried to buy a hole to be a 10, and I'm like, that's a lot. So to have 80 of them is sort of like remarkable. And I think that's like a level of success that takes systems in order to do. So I want to talk about that, but talk about your upbringing, right? So I know you've been evicted, right? You like you said, you've been able to retire your mom. Like, talk a little bit about your upbringing. Did you come from money, or is how
Not at all. So my mom migrated from Colombia to South Florida. I'm born and raised in Fort Lauderdale. She was a single mom, undocumented. So for those that don't know, she was illegal. She had to clean houses growing up. Well, we just struggled a ton. We lived in poverty, moved 17 times before I was 18 years old. And I really 17 times
Yeah.
every single year, because we couldn't afford rent. So you can imagine renewing a lease was never an option.
Wow.
And so we moved a lot, and there was no stability. And I really think that those situations of being in that much poverty will either create resentment in you, or you are going to be pissed off for greatness. And I've always identified my strength because those situations, I was pissed off for greatness. I was like, okay, I have no stability. There's no home ownership in this environment, but I'm not going to take that and accept it. I'm going to change my life. And I knew that at 8 years old, I told my mom, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire one day.
At 8?
At 8 years old. And she was crazy too, because she was like, you're going to do it.
I love it.
A woman of faith.
Delusional optimist. I love it.
Exactly. Incredibly delusional, but she was optimistic. And so kind of grew up still in that environment, struggling. My mom was cleaning houses. I took the best opportunity I could, though, at 17 years old, and I went to the military. And I left home at that age, trying to figure out who I was going to be, how I was going to make it to the next level. And it was a long journey, because the military is far from easy. When you go to high school and they're in the cafeteria saying, go to the military. They sell you the dream. They sell you the dream. And in reality, it was hard. But again, that situation taught me discipline. So I come out of high school. I've lived in poverty my entire life. I'm motivated because I'm like, I'm going to be rich one day. But then I joined the military, and it teaches me, you got to be disciplined to get there. It was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so you're in the military. At what point that you were like, nah, this military thing ain't for me?
Oh, I would say probably within like a year of being in it. So I ended up serving 6 years, deployed to Iraq, Kuwait. So I've served overseas as well. And although I enjoyed the experience of it, built me up into the person I am, into being a leader. But I realized that I wanted more in life. The military gives you housing, gives you food, it gives you health insurance, you get a retirement plan. But I always had this conviction in me that I was meant to be a millionaire. And I knew the military wasn't going to get me there. And my biggest goal in life was to retire my mom by the time she was 60 years old. She was cleaning houses still. And I was like, I got to figure out a way to get there. And I was 23 years old at the time when I got out. So I had 7 years to run it up.
Wow.
I retired her at 29. So
I love it. And so from the military, you say, all right, like, I want to get into law. Like, how does that happen?
How does that happen? So my mom cleaned houses growing up. She couldn't give us much financially, but the one thing she gave us was that she cleaned houses for very wealthy people. That's where my idea of I can be a millionaire. I didn't see it in my environment, but I saw people living very well. I saw the houses. And so I'd ask people, what do you do? Oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor, traditional paths. So I always had it in my mind of I got to go to get an education. And kind of to what you tackled a little bit in the beginning is that I did everything the traditional way, the way I was taught to do it. And at some point down the road as a lawyer, I realized this isn't the way to go. But coming out the military, I saw down the road and I was like, if I want to have a lot of money, the only route I knew was what everybody else around me was doing. They were going to college, they were getting graduate degrees. And so I decided to pursue that, but quickly realized that that wasn't what I thought it was. It was a fantasy. And the corporate world, they sell you on it's this sexy thing. You're going to wear a suit, you're working 9 to 5, you're going to get 2 weeks off a year. And you start living it. It's not as sexy as they make it seem.
Yeah. Well, what kind of law did you want to study in?
I was a corporate attorney, so I did mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
So my law firm was based out of San Francisco, and we represented companies that were selling or they were buying other companies.
Yeah. And this is like a sidebar, but that's where I'm pushing my daughter though. So I'm telling my daughter to get into corporate law. But because my mindset is telling me, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur. My wife's an entrepreneur. Both my kids are entrepreneurs. So my son, monetizes his, YouTube as we speak. But I told her because she didn't know what she wanted to do, and I didn't want to force her into our businesses. So I said, you know what? Do corporate law, so at least you could be general counsel. Like, am I advising her the right way, or tell her no, run away from it?
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm still licensed.
Yeah.
And having the license will always be extremely valuable.
Okay.
Because attorneys are expensive. Having an attorney on retainer is expensive. And so I can tell you that even though I'm not in the field, I still hold my license. I do that continued education because it's extremely valuable. So especially for you and what you do, having somebody that understands the law and you can just text them, call them, get insight.
All right, say less.
That's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Okay, good. Say less.
You're on the right track.
And I'm trying to recoup my investment. Because we invested a lot of money in her, so I'm trying to recoup that investment. And so now, being an attorney is not what is your entree into real estate?
So for me, I was 2 weeks into being a lawyer.
Yeah.
Once again, I came out the Army. I ended up going to law school. I'm in school for 3 years. I'm ready to start making money. I become a lawyer 2 weeks into it. I see the room and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Everybody hates it here. Everybody's miserable. Nobody looks like me. Once again, I have this conviction in me. I'm meant to be a millionaire, and I'm meant to be it in a way where I have time freedom. Yeah. I already saw the writing on the wall. I was going to have to work Christmas. I was going to have to work the holidays. I can't go back home to South Florida for Thanksgiving and have a 5-day weekend. So I'm like, I got to get out. And I'm not a creative person by any means. I'm not that smart, even though I'm a lawyer, believe it or not. But I was like, how do people become millionaires? I just did the research on my own now. I'm like, I got to figure this out because clearly what I've been taught hasn't gotten me there. And I saw everybody that's a millionaire, they're in real estate. 90% of people are. And so I was like, okay, let me get into real estate. I did the math. I'm like, if I can buy 40 rental properties, then I can get out of my job in 24 months. The only problem was I only have $4,000. And so I'm like, okay, there has to be a way though that I can actually get out of my job in 24 months because I wanted to get out by the time I was 29 years old because I said, I want to enjoy the last year of my 20s. And I also have to make enough money to retire my mom because that was always my goal. I couldn't retire myself and be tired working 2 years when she's been cleaning houses for 35 years.
Right.
So I figured out the BURR strategy, which is what I do now. And that was my first step into it of, okay, I see the strategy. I understand it. Now I got to execute on it with the position that I'm in, which is the low credit score, the $4,000. Not a lot of money, but I learned it. I executed on it and did my first deal in 2023. Bought my first house that first year in 2023. I bought eight properties.
Wow. And so I'm going to back it up a little bit, right? Because 2 questions I want to ask because I know the BURR strategy. So I do want you to explain what the BURR strategy is, number 1. But number 2, I have a lot of friends in real estate. In fact, I have a good friend of mine who owned 40 properties at one time, and he sold all of them. He sold all of the properties. He's invested heavily in cryptocurrency and the stock market, and he's telling people, including myself, to run. He said, "Run, do not do real estate." So I want to tackle those 2 things. What is the BURR strategy, and what are your thoughts about real estate being a bad investment right now?
I got you. So the BURR strategy is you buy property, you rehab it. You do both of those things with the bank's money. They give you 90 to 100% financing, so you're not coming out of pocket. So once you buy the property, you rehab it, you rent it out, and then you refinance it. Refinancing means that now that the property's value has increased because you renovated the property, you go ahead and you get a new loan on the property for the property's new value. And now you own a property, you use the bank's money to buy it, to renovate it, and now it creates cash flow for you every single month. Now, why would I not run away from real estate? Real estate is a business where you get paid 3 different ways. What's the first way? When you go and you refinance a property, you make money on the cash out, which is tax-free money if you have enough equity. So you get paid the first time within the first year of owning it. On top of that, you get paid every single month, your monthly profit from the cash flow that comes in.
Yeah.
The third way you get paid, your tenant is paying down your mortgage balance every single month. So over time, what happens? The property value increases, your debt decreases, so now you got equity in the property, and now you got your net worth increases, your wealth. And so real estate is a way to become rich and wealthy at the same time. Not a lot of businesses make you rich and wealthy. They can make you rich on a monthly basis, but if you have no assets that can pay you over the next 10, 20 years, you are still somewhat in the rat race.
So, right? Because when I think about it, that's why I never really understood it, because I'm saying that, especially for those, like one of my first book I wrote is called Mind Right, Money Right: 10 Laws of Financial Freedom. And in the book, my main message is that in order to build wealth, you have to change your relationship with money. Instead of working hard for money, money needs to work hard for you. A lot of times people are so reliant on their physical labor, right? So they got to work hard, and then they make the money and they pay the bills. But in order for them to continue to make money, they have to continue to use their physical labor.
100%.
Using the BURR method, right? You're buying a property, right? You said $4,000. You're buying a property, right? But you're buying it in a way where you're using the bank's money, right? So you're using the bank's money. If you know the right way to do it, which you're going to teach us, right? The right way to do it, you can get 90 to 100% financing. So you're not even using your money. You're using the bank's money. But instead of taking that property and flipping it, right? Meaning that I'm a buy this property, because I think flipping, there's nothing wrong with it, but flipping is a hustle, right?
Yep.
It's still sort of like working for money. But you take that money, you rehab the place, right? So now once you rehab it, whatever you pay for it, you're telling me the equity, right? The value of that property goes up. So if I bought the property for $100,000, the value goes up to $200,000, let's say, but I still own that, and so I'm going to rent that out. And so as I rent that out, because I have a loan for $100,000, my tenant who's paying me on a monthly basis, the money that they're paying me is going to pay off my loan of $100,000.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I now have an increased equity of another $100,000 that I could now refinance that loan, take out that $100,000, and rinse and repeat
Over and over again.
over and over again.
And
That's
now,
80 to 80.
exactly.
Sheesh.
And that right there, that equity, again, what does that equity do for you?
Yeah.
Over time, that's your net worth. That's your generational wealth.
Right. And here's the other thing that I kind of see now, how this puzzle was divinely orchestrated, because someone like me with like adult ADHD, I can't do none of that. But you have the Army that gave you a level of discipline, the level of discipline that says success takes patience. So you're not looking for the novelty quickness. You're able to stay in and do it over and over and over.
It's
again.
a long-term journey. That's how I see it, because sure, you can go out and start a business and make $100,000 a month, $200,000 a month. But to what you said earlier, you have to physically go out and do that. The moment you stop working, that money stops coming in. And for me, I've always thought very long term. I'm 30 years old right now. I don't plan on retiring in the next 5 years. But my goal is that in 10 years, I can retire. And if I sell my properties, I've got $1 million paydays coming that way.
Yeah.
It's a long-term game. I'm not even playing for today. I'm paying for down the road.
Yeah.
And that's what most landlords do if you think about it.
Yeah.
We get pissed sometimes when we see people that own rental properties and we're like, must have been nice when you bought it at $30,000. Now it's for $200,000. No, they were just disciplined. They bought in the moment when people were probably telling them not to buy.
Yeah.
They held onto the properties. They fixed them up. They rented them out. And now they get to sit on a huge pile of cash.
Yeah.
And they can then really retire at that point. I think most people aren't thinking about retirement, especially when you're a little bit younger. But for me, my vision has always been long-term. When I'm 40, when I'm 45 years old, where do I want to be in life? I'm not playing for my 30s.
For sure. What did it feel like, retiring your mother, right? Putting a vision out there. I'm gonna be a millionaire by 8 years old. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna retire my mom, and to actually like see it to fruition. How does that feel?
Incredibly satisfying. It showed me and reminded me how good God is.
Yes.
And for me, I'll tell you, I grew up pissed off to be great. Mostly because so many
Pissed
people
off to be great.
pissed off to be great, because a lot of people
Good book
overlook my
title, by the
mom.
way.
we got to write it. We got trademark.
Yeah,
But a lot of people overlooked us. But
Yeah.
more importantly, I think being young, I saw people overlook my mom.
Yeah.
And I had this goal inside of me. I was like, one day you're gonna see her retire before you. Because I know most people are going to retire at 62, 65. I said, you know what? I'm going to retire my mom before anybody else. And this lady that you see scrubbing these toilets, mopping these floors, wait till you see where she's going to end up. And so for me, I'm be honest, that's like my flex.
Yeah,
Like
for
my
sure.
mom right now, she lives in South America. We travel to Italy, we travel to France. She's coming on a cruise on Monday. The cars and the money will come.
So, yeah.
But seeing her live her life
Yeah.
and to have the things
After
that she deserves.
sacrificed for, you and your brother, like your family.
Yeah, my mom was hungry most days.
Yeah.
Because she was just trying to make sure that my brother and I weren't hungry.
Yeah.
And she was moving every single year just to give us a good place to live, even though she could never afford rent. My mother never paid for rent.
Yeah.
I remember I would get dropped off from my friends in high school. They would drop me off at home, and I'd be running up to the door to yank off the eviction notice. I knew it was on the door. If it was the 6th of the month, I already knew it was on the door.
Wow.
And they'd be coming behind me because they wanted to come inside, and I would just be sprinting. I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my mom was doing the best she could
Yeah.
with what she had. And so I respect that.
Yeah.
And now it's time to let her enjoy life as she deserves.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that I see so much of parallels though too. Because my mom, my parents are from Haiti. And so my mom is a Haitian immigrant. My dad wasn't around, so my mom raised 3 of us. I'm the youngest of 3. And my mom worked factory jobs, and I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to retire because my mom has passed away now. So I wasn't able to retire her, but there was always that level of like, so I'm happy to hear that you've been able to do that. She's been able to see it because I could relate to like watching them sacrifice, watching them give up everything, and even to the point where my mom, we didn't have anything, but my mom was still the biggest giver I knew.
Yeah.
I used to be mad. Like I'm in the house. I'm like, we ain't got no food, and my friends coming in and she feeding everybody. And I think that's where I get like my big heart from as well, because I know that we'll always have more than enough, and so to be able to have that feeling, I could only imagine is a great feeling. Talk a little bit about now in real estate, you've learned this, you've made the money, you're making the money. You say now that I want to help others, right? I want to help others get this level of freedom that I have. I want to help people. Talk a little bit about that.
I'm incredibly passionate about this because I did everything the traditional way. I went to the military. The military paid for college. I went to college. I went to law school. I became an attorney. I did step by step what America tells you to do. And what I found out was that it puts you back in the rat race and you don't have any fulfillment. And you can have more freedom, more money, be more fulfilled, because you can then have the time to do whatever you want to do through real estate. And so I love sharing the BURR strategy because a lot of people aren't familiar with it. They don't understand that you can really go out and buy rental properties with none of your own money, that you don't have to personally qualify for them. You can go ahead and get approved with no money, get approved with no income tax returns, no pay stubs, low credit. And so the barriers of entry that we've created for ourselves that don't allow us to take it to the next level, don't allow us to be millionaires, don't allow us to have the generational wealth that we all aspire to have, are just barriers that we have mentally created because we don't know otherwise.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like it's my obligation because I've gone through it and I've changed my life to go ahead and pull everybody else up and say, you can do this, because not a lot of people will tell you, hey, you can get 100% financing on a house and get all the money to renovate a property. Now you're thinking, well, what's the catch? There's no catch. You don't have to live there for a year like your FHA loan.
Right.
And so I think there's just a lack of knowledge, and now it's just about spreading that knowledge, and people so they can go out and execute on it as well.
Yeah, no, I love that because, I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody because it is what it is, but right now as we speak, there is people losing jobs, right? There are people, especially with AI, that's automating a lot of things that a lot of jobs that humans do. I think the reports say anywhere between 300 and 340 million jobs will be lost because of AI. The one thing that AI can't take away is people's ability to need a place to live.
Yep.
right? And so I don't care what AI what jobs they're gonna take away. There's still gonna be humans on this earth, and the humans need a place to live. And understanding what you're teaching, the BURR strategy, is that way. And so talk to that person, right? Or not even talk to the person. Let me ask your advice, right? You have, people like myself that tell people that they need multiple streams of income,
Yeah.
that having one income, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working 9 to 5, one is close to none, right? If someone had a choice, right, and they're like, you know what, I hear you, I need to create another stream of income, do you tell them to start the business first, or do you tell them to get into real estate, and why?
90% of millionaires are in real estate.
Yeah.
So why not just follow what's been done? If you want to be successful, duplicate the strategy that got other people successful.
Yeah.
And so if we know that most people that have become successful have invested in real estate, why go out and try to be creative, figure out what's AI resistant as well, when real estate has historically been that for everybody else
Yeah.
that has reached that level of financial freedom. And so instead of trying to figure out how to have multiple streams of income in different avenues, why not just buy one rental property that will create 3 streams of income for you and multiply that as many times as you want?
Yeah.
And you are focused now on a form, on real estate at that point that will, in fact, not only make you rich, it'll make you wealthy over time. And again, I think real estate is such a simple concept that we all understand that it's super easy to get into. Because I don't need to break down to you how owning rental property is going to make you money. You understand the concept. You buy, you rent, right? Either you have rented at some point in your life or you've owned a property at some point. You've been on one side of the coin or the other. And so I think it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
You just got to go out and now do it.
What is the first step, right, for somebody who, I don't know, is working a 9 to 5, or an entrepreneur who wants to get into it? Because I wanna say that a lot of times the barrier to entry is the fact that, I mean, they don't know anything about, the rental property. They don't know anything about the areas. They don't know where to buy. They don't know what's a good deal. Like, what's their first step?
So I would say first step, educate yourself. So you can go on forums like Bigger Pockets. You can go on Instagram, obviously on social media. You can even watch my videos on my page and educate yourself on what the BURR strategy is. From there, you're going to want to find an asset-based lender, which is a hard money lender, because those are the lenders that are going to give you all the financing that you need to buy that property and renovate it. And you want to make that connection with them to see, okay, what requirements you all have for the property, because the property is what qualifies and gets the loan approved.
Not your credit.
Not your credit.
Income.
So correct. So we got to shift from thinking I got to personally qualify to how do I get qualified? How do you get qualified? You got to bring the right property. The right property usually is that your all-in cost for that property is 70% below what that property will be worth after it's renovated. Meaning, if the property is going to be, once it's renovated, it'll be worth $100,000. You cannot spend more than 70% of $100,000 on the property, which would be $70,000. So once you understand that math and you've connected with a lender that's going to give you the money to buy the property, now you go out and you find the property. I always recommend start in lower cost markets, like under $100,000. Dayton, Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. You got North Carolina, you got Georgia. Start in those markets and find your first deal.
Yeah. Do I have to know about Toledo, Ohio? Like how am I gonna know that this property is for sale, or it's actually a real property, or am I gonna have to fly over to Toledo?
No, you can always look on market. So you can obviously look on Zillow, see what's for sale actively, and then go from there. You can connect with the realtor to do that as well. So you don't have to go on it on your own. You can leverage other people, and that's how you start building out your team. So when I started investing, I was living in Washington, D.C. I was a lawyer there. Started investing in North Carolina. I had a realtor, and he would send me properties that were for sale on the market. And then if I was interested in them, he would go ahead and go see it. Now, how do you figure out if it's going to be a good rental property? Well, you want to see if properties are renting for at least 30% more than what your mortgage payment would be. So you do the math. You see, you see how much a property is going for sale for. What would be your mortgage payment? You can use loan calculators. Just Google those, figure it out, and then you go and look on Zillow, look at for rent, and look in Toledo, Ohio, and Dayton, Ohio. What are properties renting for? If they're renting for $1,500 a month, and you see that your mortgage is going to be $1,000 a month, you can do the math and say, okay, it's profitable in this market.
Yeah. No, I love that, and I think that what you're saying pretty much is that all of this exists already. It's not guesswork. You don't have to guess about it. There's actual mathematics. There's things that you could do
Yeah.
to figure out if this is a good investment or not.
100%. People are used to looking at real estate from an emotional perspective.
Yeah,
It's all data and it's all numbers. All we do is math.
yeah,
Does the deal work? Do the numbers work? Because if the numbers work out, my lender's going to give me the money and you can go ahead and now buy the property.
yeah,
It's all just the analysis. If you learn the framework of it and you know how to analyze deals and you've got the lending now,
yeah,
your job is just to find the properties.
yeah.
You don't got to get emotional. I need to see the house. I need to choose what color floors, what I'm going to paint. Don't get into that.
Yeah. How do you deal with tenants that don't pay though, right? Because I think that that's the biggest nuance, or that's the biggest headache that comes with owning properties.
Yeah, absolutely. I think big thing, you always have to screen them.
Yeah.
So a lot of time, people coming into real estate, you want to be buddy-buddy with your tenants.
Right.
You can't be buddy-buddy with your tenants. You got to qualify them, screen them, make sure that they actually make enough money to pay that rent every single month. But on top of that, I just focus on markets, states, where they're landlord-friendly. So I know you're from New York. I would never invest in New York.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Because they'll leave squatters in there for a
Absolutely.
year,
Yeah,
2
yeah,
years.
yeah.
And it's very hard to get people out. But if you go into a market like North Carolina, where they're landlord-friendly, if you don't pay rent by the 6th,
Right.
I can file an eviction for you the next day, and you'll be out within 14 days.
Wow. Yeah.
We move like that.
Yep.
So it all comes down to choosing the right market so that if you were to get to that situation, you can get out of it. People get afraid because they hear what's happening in New York. They hear what's happening in California. They're like, a squatter's been living there. The landlord goes to the doorsteps.
Yeah.
Squatter says, get off my property. Landlord got to get off.
Yeah.
So it really is. It's based off the state.
Yeah.
So you got
because I'll be honest, like I've seen cases like that, and I'm like, oh, that's so unfair. Like I've even seen cases in which a squatter was able to obtain like permanent rights over someone else's property because they, I guess, understood the law. But you're saying that just happens in the states that, like, you just got to know the law and know the right states to invest in.
Absolutely. You can go on ChatGPT. Just type in top 10 landlord-friendly states.
Yeah.
I guarantee you New York's not going to be one of them, right? Your California isn't going to be one of them. So you want to be in states where the legal system is in your favor. Because at the end of the day, if a tenant doesn't pay, you got to go through the legal system.
Right.
You can't go on your own, change the locks.
Right. Vigilante style. Like, yo, get about my house, son.
Yeah. I know some people that go that route. I'm like, nah.
Click, clack about that life, son. I paid for this.
I know people that will cut off the water, the power. I'm like, I don't do any of that. I just go the legal system. And if you're in a state where the legal system works in your favor, you'll be good.
Yeah. But 80 properties in 3 years, like that had to take a level of like lock-in discipline. Like what does it take? Like what did that take for you? Like
definitely building it out. I would say the goal was always double what we're doing every year. So first year, 8 properties. Second year, 17. Last year, 45. This year, the goal is to do 90, push upwards to 150 units. And it's always just been thinking about it strategically.
Yeah.
Actually planning, how do we get there? I did the same thing when I want to get to 40 rentals. I sat down, I did the math. I said, how do I do this? And it's been the same thing every single year when we plan for the yearly goals. How do we actually do this, and having a plan that we can then follow step by step? But besides having the plan, it's having the team.
Yeah.
So it's me, it's my brother. We're similar minded, but we have different strengths.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge component for us because as we grow, there's different pain points. So he now manages all of the renovations. I manage all of the acquisitions. So I only focus on buying properties that make sense.
Yeah.
He focuses on renovating them.
Yeah.
My dad now is involved in business. He's a project manager.
Yeah.
My brother's wife's in the business. She's a property manager.
Yeah.
And so now every single year we're adding on more people so that they can help us push us upwards, and that way we can keep buying properties. And now it's about, systems. I think I saw a post the other day which says something to the effect of your first $100,000 can come, but the next that comes is based off of systems.
Right.
So we've made it to this point without systems.
Yeah.
Now to take it to another level, we got to have systems.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the renovations. I know your brother manages those, but I think one of the things, again, that I said I got into like buying properties and stuff. One of the things that deterred me was trying to find the right people to renovate.
Mm-hmm.
because I had other businesses. I was like too busy to kind of watch things. I think certain contractors see that. They start taking their time. They start charging you the you got it tax. I think I got taxed the you got it tax for a while. Like, how do you shield yourself from that?
I would say the biggest thing is you got to be 100% focused on your business.
Yeah.
And that's what me and my brother quickly figured out. We were in business together. He was a police officer. I was a lawyer. We were doing it on the side. And what we realized is contractors will not show up to work every single day unless they know you're going to show up to the job site every single day.
Yeah.
And so now, how do we manage that? Every single day, there's a project manager on site. On top of that, we don't pay them up front. A lot of times, if you pay them up front, what happens? They're not incentivized to go ahead and keep pushing forward. But when you haven't paid them, what they want to get out of that project quickly. They want to finish up so they can be like, all right, I'm ready to get paid. But when you pay them, you kind of lose that leeway. And so I think it's just been figuring out how to manage them so we can get the projects done. And part of that is just showing up. You got to be on top of them. That's the truth.
Yeah. I could imagine that some of the things that you've learned, you didn't learn them by yourself through trial and error. How important is mentorship or finding a coach? Like if you're starting anything new?
It accelerates where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
So I had listened to podcasts on their strategy for 8 years. So I had a familiarity with it, but I had never executed. What was the changing point for me? When I met that realtor in North Carolina, he was an investor. He took me to the next level. He helped me buy 8 houses in a single year. For the last 8 years, I hadn't done a single thing.
Wow.
And so having somebody that could now teach me, because he owned 120 rental properties.
Wow.
He was also a realtor though.
Wow.
But he said, let me show you how the game goes.
Yeah.
Within a year, he taught me everything and it transformed my entire life. And so if I would have not got with somebody that was in a position that I aspired to be in and could teach me the strategies, the resources, the systems, I would still be trying to figure out how to even get one property.
Yeah. Wow. And so one of the things I want to go back to, because I think that this is where you got to unlearn to relearn, right? Is and you said this earlier, but I want to go back to it because you said asset-based lending. I know most people are familiar and comfortable with buying their first home to live in. And to buy your first home to live in, you have to have good credit. You have to have, income, right? You have to have a certain profile in order to buy this house. You're saying that there are, and then there's the traditional lender, like your regular mortgage or bank or whatever that provides that loan or whatever the case may be. You're saying that there are asset-based lenders, aka hard money loan lenders, who do not care about Ash, doesn't care about Daryl, doesn't care about Cindy. They care about the asset that you are purchasing. And then based on that asset, if the asset is being bought at a good deal, they'll give you the money up to 90 to 100%. And it doesn't matter if somebody has a 400 credit score with negative $10 in their bank account. Can they buy a property?
You're gonna be mind blown. You can. Because again, these lenders, they're focused on the property. Why? Because the property is a collateral for them. If you default on that loan, guess what happens? They take back that house.
Wow. With the equity.
With the equity in it. And so sometimes we think, oh, why are the lenders giving us so much money without personally qualifying us? They care about the property. If you don't pay, they have a great property now. They can go out, sell it, make more money on it. They can keep it. And so I think that it really comes to, once again, to that mind shift of how do I personally qualify for these loans and realizing that these lenders are going to finance it. This works, I always tell people, it works at a smaller level, houses, duplexes. I'm now in a position where I mostly buy multifamily on the smaller side. So I buy 10-unit buildings, 16-unit buildings. But even at a larger scale, when you see those 200-unit apartment buildings, those 300-unit apartment buildings, who do you think gave them the financing? Asset-based lenders.
And so really, the asset-based lender is an investor. They're investing their money, looking for good deals. But they're like why wouldn't the asset-based lender just look for the deals themselves?
too much work because you got to find the property,
Yeah.
then you got to manage the renovation.
Yeah.
Then if you want to keep it, you got to figure out how to keep it rented and collect rent every single month.
Yeah.
And they make their money on the loan itself. Why? The loan is for 1 year.
Yep.
There's a higher interest rate on it, usually anywhere from 9.5% to 13% interest rate.
Yep.
So they're making a good chunk of money off the loan itself without doing any of the labor that we have to do as investors, which is driving to find the property, going to the property side every single week, whatever it is. So they make their money just off the loan itself, but they're more than willing to put out those loans because they know that the asset itself is a great investment. They're not investing in you, they're investing in the property itself.
Yeah. And so is it safe to say that even after they give you the money, you renovate the property, it's now worth more, when it's time to refinance it, because you own it, it's still easier to refinance and get money out of the property?
100%. When you refinance, now you go to what's called a DSCR lender,
Okay.
a debt service coverage ratio lender. They are also asset-based. It's a little bit different. But here's how they qualify and approve a loan for a refinance.
Right.
They'll ask, does the property generate enough income every single month? Meaning, is the rent the mortgage payment? So basically, are you breaking even every single month? Because they just care about getting paid.
Correct.
Again, these lenders, they do not care about you.
Yeah.
They want to know about the property. Does the property have equity in it? Will the property pay me every single month?
Yeah.
If it checks that mark, you'll go ahead, you'll get the loan.
This is a lot of game right here. All right, and so now you do the DSCR loan. Man, this is really, really good. And so like what risks are involved? Like why wouldn't somebody do this?
They don't understand the numerical analysis, I think, more than anything, because you got to understand what you're buying the property at, how much renovation costs are going to be, what the after repair value, and you got to look at the data.
Yeah.
That's the truth, though, but it really is just math. Yeah. And so I'll give you like a quick example. My brother and I, we bought a 10-unit building in North Carolina. So we bought it for $370,000. Lender gave us 100% of the money.
Wow.
The renovations were about $250,000. Lender gave us all the money. So we're all in it at about $620,000.
None of your money.
None of my mom money. Their money.
Wow.
I'm taking on a risk now. I have a loan for $620,000 for 1 year.
Yeah.
That's risky.
Yeah.
But the property, once it was renovated and rented out, it was worth $1.2 million.
Ooh.
Risk, reward.
Reward, yeah.
I do a cash out refinance. Yep. I pay off my lender the $620,000. Yep. Made it out. And then I get a cash out refinance of $150,000.
Right.
Tax free.
And then now you have a loan, but that loan you're servicing through the rent
every single
month. And you got money though.
And I got money. So I got $150,000.
Money that you didn't have before.
Exactly. And I didn't put money out into the deal. Right. I just did the work. Yeah. Now I'm getting paid the $150,000 on the refinance. Yeah. I still own the asset. Yep. So it pays me every single month, and it pays my loan every single month. Yeah. And again, I own the asset. If I own it for 10, 15 years, what's going to happen? The tenant, it's going to appreciate. Yeah. The tenant's going to go ahead, pay 30, 35% of my loan off. Yep. If I want to sell, I sell. Wow. Have a great day.
Wow. And worst case scenario, right? In the worst case scenario, because I asked about risk and you said, hey, the risk is I got a $620,000 loan and I can't pay it back. Worst case scenario, they foreclose on the property and just take back a property that you never owned to begin with.
Correct. You always own in your LLC.
That's my next question, right? That's my next question is, how do you do it to protect yourself? And you kind of like answer that. You're saying you own it in the LLC. Explain that.
You own it in your LLC. So with any asset-based lender, they always want you to own the real estate in an LLC. Makes it easier for them if they have to get into that position where they have to take it back from you. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's why sometimes you see people will do this strategy, and for whatever reason, they don't finish the renovation. It doesn't work out. They'll just walk away from the property. My LLC owns it. Yeah. Foreclose, bankrupt the LLC, and they move on. I don't recommend you do that.
Right, for sure.
But if your personal name isn't on the home, again, because they're not personally qualifying you, the question then becomes, does this have implications on you personally? Yeah. If you got a loan based off the property itself and it was under your LLC.
Yeah. Got it. Wow. So now talk about your mentorship, right? So you have, I'm ready to join. Like, cuz I'm like this strategy is good. Talk about your mentorship. Talk about what you're teaching people, and all of the students that you've been helping.
So I'm teaching people what I've talked about, how to go ahead, buy these properties with no money out of pocket, leverage bank financing, so you can create a portfolio that will, whether it's to replace your income,
Yeah.
you want to replace your income in 2-3 years, whether you want to retire. This is a strategy that gets you there because it gets you that rich and it gets you wealthy as well. And so I'm teaching people how to do it. But I think my position with it, being that I'm a lawyer, I'm very conservative. And so as much as there is risk involved, we try to minimize risk as much as possible. And I'm big on teaching that side of it, of how do we take these leaps of faith, we invest in these assets that are going to pay us every single month, but we make sure we're not putting ourselves in a worse position because most people are coming in, they don't have the credit, they don't have the money, they don't have the income. And so for me, it's okay, I want to transform your life, but I want to make sure that, in fact, you get that transformation on the back end of buying these properties and being in a good position where they're going to pay you now every single month for the rest of your life.
Yeah. What does your mentorship entail? Like, do they get access to resources? Do they get access to weekly calls? Like, if somebody is trying to learn from Cindy West the best.
I like that.
Yes, sir.
They get a course.
Yeah.
On top of that, they get the weekly coaching calls with me where I will review properties for them.
Ah.
So not only am I giving you the information, but when you go and execute on it, I'm there to give you ongoing feedback to say, hey, maybe stay away from that house, or hey, why don't you offer a little bit less? So I give them that ongoing feedback. Obviously, the biggest plug is going to be the lenders because everybody's first question is, who's giving out 100% financing? I know the lenders. I've done my due diligence over the last 3 years to call a good chunk of lenders in the United States of America. And so now I've got those contacts in my Rolodex that instead of you going out and trying to figure it out, I'm just going to give them to you.
Yeah.
So now you know who's doing 100% financing. You get all the resources that are in the community. And on a weekly basis for an entire year, I'm walking you step by step on how to do this business and to not only buy one property, but to buy multiple rental properties and to get to a point where if you really want this to take you to another level financially, to get into the multifamily space, which is the buying now apartment buildings. No longer buying houses. 1 or 2s are good. But taking it to another level, you can buy apartment buildings. And now instead of doing 2 houses, you're not doing a 10-unit building.
Yeah.
And you have a $150,000 payday within 6 to 9 months.
Yeah. I love it. I think the game changer for me is really like your ability to look at deals and really kind of look at those deals and kind of like walk and coach people through that, and then also like the lenders. So it's almost like no one has to guess how to do it. Here's the strategy. If you understand this strategy, working with you allows you to now be able to get to the result that they want a little faster, in a more disciplined way. Because I think that's also the thing too, is that a lot of times people try to go fast, but when they go fast they do it undisciplined, so they make a lot of mistakes, they lose a lot of money,
And you lose money.
yeah, you lose money that way. What is the 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as you amass all of this wealth, what do you see Cindy doing with her time?
Ooh, I hope that in 10 years, I have a portfolio of about $100 million of real estate.
Yeah.
That's the goal. If I think about what I want my legacy to be, I want it to reflect a minority coming from nothing, owning a large portion of real estate in North Carolina, where you would never see somebody like me own a large portion of real estate in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I want it to stand for something, and I hope to really impact other people and see them as well in a position where they own 10s, 20s of houses, buildings, and transforming their lives as well, especially people in our community. Most people aren't in this space.
Yeah.
They've had those mental barriers. And so for me, what's fulfilling is not only to see my own family create our legacy coming from people that were often overlooked to now being in a position where we're blessed, but we can also now turn around and help other people and then see all those other people then transform their own families, have that generational wealth, and have real estate. I mean, that would be the goal.
No, I love it. If you could go back to 18-year-old Cindy, what what advice would you give her,
Ooh,
knowing what you know now?
yeah. I'll be honest. I think I had pretty good advice
Mm.
at 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I just always looked at my 20s and I was like, this isn't where you party and have fun.
Mm. Yeah.
And I held that tight. And now I look back and yeah, I had okay fun in my 20s, but I didn't really do too much. Again, I always looked at it from a very long-term perspective. But if I had to say something to myself, I would say take the risk.
Yeah.
Because at 18 years old, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I didn't take the risk.
Yeah.
I went with what was comfortable. So if there's anything I could have told myself was, I wanted to be rich,
Yeah.
but even though I knew this route, I decided to go a route that was more comfortable.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have taken that leap of faith at 18 years old because I think of what it cost me. It didn't just cost me going to school, working, doing all this for 10 years. My mom now had to work for 10 more years because I didn't take that risk.
Yeah.
And so if looking back, I could have made those moves much quicker. My entire family's life would have changed much quicker as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you're fearful.
For sure.
You're fearful when you want to do something that you've never seen anybody else in your environment do.
For sure. Which is why I feel like this is gonna be so freeing for a lot of people, because not only have you done it, you've created a system through it, and then you could also teach it, right? You could also teach other people, help them, get the same type of results. When you look at as a financial advisor, I always look at like diversification of funds and things of that nature. You said $100 million in real estate. Have you, are you also thinking about investing in other things, or you're like, nah, die hard real estate, son? I got it tatted on my arm.
No, so I'm gonna tell you what my game plan is.
Yeah.
$100 million in real estate.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna exit. Just like any other business, I look at real estate.
Yep.
Buy out the assets.
Yep.
Exit, sell all of it, and now if I sell $100 million in real estate,
Yeah.
let's say I owe $60 million, I have $30 million now.
Yep.
Now I diversify. Now I create the 6 streams of income. It's easy now to create 6 streams of income with $30 million
absolutely.
than to do it with $4,000.
Absolutely.
And so that's my mentality of just locking on real estate, build it up, make that the baby that's going to really grow and amplify itself. And then from there in 10, 15 years, sell it, diversifying different assets that are less physically laborious at the end of the day.
No, that makes sense. And that actually tracks with what we usually say, right? Is like, if you're going to build multiple streams of income, focus on one first.
Yep.
And that, because the truth of the matter is that, like you said, 90% of millionaires own real estate, but a lot of them, however way they focus on one thing, make a lot of money. And the truth of the matter, I mean, we didn't really touch on this, but the tax benefit is awesome.
Yeah.
Right? There's a tax strategy, buy, borrow, die. Yeah. Right? Where you buy a property or you buy something, you borrow against it, you use that money, and because you use that money and it's not tax, you can't be taxed on it. You never pay tax on it, so now you can enjoy money without taxes. If you add a layer of life insurance into it, right? Now you die, that life insurance pays off the property, and now you still own that property. It's a whole other strategy that we can add to it, but that actually allows you to build wealth and enjoy money tax free as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I know most wealthy families, to your point, they don't sell their properties. They'll pass it down generation by generation. They'll keep doing the refinances, keep getting that tax-free money, and hold on to that and have it keep paying itself every single month. So, but to your point, focus on one stream of income, make a lot of money there.
Absolutely.
And then I always think, if I could take $4,000, get to a place where I now own $100 million of real estate, what could I do with $30 million?
Right.
So...
All right. Do you do any any master classes, any webinars, any challenges, anywhere that people could kind of learn from you?
Absolutely. So I do a masterclass on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time where I teach a strategy. So I give a ton of game. I'm not there to give you the fluff, the easy stuff. I walk you step by step on how to do this so you can go out and execute on it within a 90-day period.
Yeah, yeah.
So step by step, how to find the properties, how to understand the strategy, work with the lenders, buy these rental properties that would cash flow every single month. So if people want to learn more about it,
Yeah.
every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I'm on that call. I'm teaching that class and giving away the game.
And what's the website they would go to? I'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah, you can go to my Instagram page.
Yep.
It's at @CindyWest_.
Yep.
When you're on my page, the link is in the bio.
Yeah.
Go ahead, register for it.
Yeah.
Again.
And I love that because I like if y'all listen, I don't know what y'all been watching, but if y'all haven't been paying attention, like y'all should have your credit card in hand and be ready to be under her tutelage because she just gave you the game. But as an added layer, she like, forget that. You can even just come hang with me on Thursday because maybe you might have some questions. You answer questions. You let people ask questions. Oh, that's even better, right? So Thursday, you can come check her out. And if you have any questions about about the strategy, you can also ask her those as well. Man, this was good. This is really, really good. Yeah. Is there anything that I did not ask that you're like, damn, Ash, you should have asked me about XYZ that you wanted me to ask you?
Ooh. You should ask me, how can people buy 3 to 5 rentals in 1 year? That's what you should ask me.
All right. So how can people buy 3 to 5, you said rentals?
Yeah.
How can people buy 3 to 5 rentals in 1 year?
I got you. Step by step.
Yeah.
You got to find your first property under 150 grand. Use a lender that's going to finance 100%, like Attorney's Capital. Go ahead. You get 100% financing on the buy, 100% on the rehab. Takes you about 90 days to renovate the property. You can go and do your refinance within 90 days. Now you go ahead, you refinance, you pull equity out of the property. You go now and you buy a duplex. Go ahead, you buy the duplex, do the same exact strategy. Yeah. You're 3 months in. So now if we add another 3 months, now we're 6 months in with the duplex. We have 3 rental units at that point. Repeat the entire process. Now you go ahead, you're 6, 7 months into this journey. What do you do next? Buy a duplex, buy a triplex, buy a fourplex. And now, let's say you buy a fourplex. You bought a house, then you bought a duplex, then you bought a fourplex. How many units do you own now?
That's 7.
7 rental units within a year. Using the bank's money, cash flowing assets, equity.
That's it.
Come on.
Man. Listen, y'all, if y'all, can y'all stop playing with Cindy West? If y'all not hitting the link, if y'all not pausing this right now, if you're not hitting the more button and hitting the description, or if you're listening to the audio version, if you're not joining that masterclass right now, then you are not serious about generational wealth. You're not serious about freedom. You're not serious about making sure that your life goes to the next level, because this is I need to get back into the game, because I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I think my issue has been I've never done BURR though. Right?
You use your own money.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the times I was trying to use my own money, and so I was buying properties. I was, and here's the other piece of it though too, is that there's an emotional attachment for me using my own money.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, nah, I had to work hard for this. Yeah. So I need this back. I needs mine. So I'm watching it closely. Yeah. And even from a mindset, right? And I look, I'm about to hold you because I know we're about to wrap up, but that's the other thing I want to ask though too about mindset, right? Because I know for me, I believe words have power, energy has power. And so for me, because I'm using my own money and I'm emotionally attached to money that I actually had to work for, in my mind, I'm putting the energy out there of like, yo, this has to work. Like, this has to work. This, like, if this doesn't work, like, nah, I need my money back. And so I'm putting the wrong energy out there, which is in turn, in hindsight, giving me the result that I don't want anyway, because that's what I'm focused on. So how important is like maintaining the right mindset as you're doing this as well?
I would say just maintaining neutral to it.
Yeah.
So neutral and disciplined to what the strategy is.
Yeah.
I got to buy the property at a discount. I got to renovate it enough to increase it to that property's value. I rent it out, and I'm doing all that with the bank's money. I do think, and I would assume this, if I would use my own money, I would feel more tied to it.
Right.
But I hate using my own money, and I don't use my own money. I just use the bank's money. And so I think it's about being disciplined to what the strategy is. Yeah. Following the steps, not getting any more creative with it, not making it more difficult than what it is. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the truth is that we're not the first people to do the strategy. Yeah. This is a strategy that, again, the wealthy people do, buying 200 unit buildings. People were doing it 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. All you got to do is stay disciplined through it. Yeah. And buy it, renovate it, rent it out, and repeat the entire process.
Yeah. Cindy West, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what more can I say? Where can people find you? Like this is really, really good. Look, I need y'all. I'm telling y'all, I need y'all to share this. And here's the other thing, though, too, right? Don't even just join the masterclass by yourself. Go tell your friends and your family. Right? And that's the beauty of it. She's doing this with her family, right? And so go grab, and you know what? That's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call my sister, and we're gonna actually try to do it together. And that way, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that too. So listen, like this is what y'all gotta do. Look, share this with 10 of your friends and family. Make sure y'all join her masterclass on Thursday so you can learn step by step how to implement this process so you can build generational wealth. If people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Absolutely. Instagram at CindyWest_. I'm on there. I'm always posting my reels, giving value, giving the lenders' names. If you're like, wait, what lender? Go on my page. They're all there. I give a lot of free game. And kind of what you said. Look, if you're not only looking to build wealth for yourself, but you want family legacy too, bring your family in.
Let's go.
That's the biggest part of it. That's the biggest blessing that I have. Not that I can just do this, but I get to do it with my entire family.
Yeah, I love it. All right, y'all, we are closing out the vault. Another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. This show was fire. I need y'all to take action immediately. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but right now. I need y'all to take action. Make sure y'all visit us, InsideTheVaultShow.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at Inside the Vault. Me, I am Ash Cash. Make sure you visit me, IamAshCash.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. Make sure you join the Abundance Community where we teach you that abundance is your birthright. Go to theabundancecommunity.com. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll be in the masterclass with you. But I'll see you next time, same place, in God's will. Peace.